win when our partners win. That was true for Intel, and that's true for us. And I think this is one of the cornerstone of what we're doing, is to making sure we are supplier of choice for our partners, because we believe without partners, we will not be successful.
Yeah, and I guess for Sims, we think about our business and being a partner of choice, and therefore I can see how that's aligned to how you think about it, wanting to be supplier of choice. So perhaps that is a good way to look at why our partnership is as it is today. Good morning, everybody. This is another podcast in our Make IT Happen. And I'm delighted today to be joined by Alex from Solidigm. Solidigm, key partner for Sims International. And as I said, we're very pleased and honoured to have Alex with us. So Alex is the EMEA Sales Director. And I think a great place to start, Alex, is, let's introduce Solidigm, a brand that arrived in the UK early 2022. Perhaps you could give a bit of background to Solidigm and sort of make our listeners aware of what you're about.
I'd love to. And first of all, thanks a lot for having me here. It's a big pleasure. We worked together for many years, and for many people's name Solidigm could be very new, and they might think, what is Solidigm? But essentially, we all come in from Intel Storage Group. I was working for Intel for 19 years before becoming part of Solidigm in 2022. So what happened essentially, Intel as a company started its business from the memory. Not many people know, like more than 50 years ago. And then it was a big, long history of innovations in the memory and storage space. Intel was part of designing the first NOR flash, designing the NVMe specification, being part of the Open Compute projects, leading in the SSDs, MLC NAND, TLC, 3D NAND, and it's a long history, right? Obviously, strategies changes and things changes, and Intel decided to divest this business. And now this business has been acquired by SK Hynix, one of the major memory and storage players. So since 2022, we independent subsidiary of SK Hynix, but the core group of people who are making Solidigm now is 90% of those people are ex-Intel people, right? And what you remember from Intel SSD days, and we still sell many SSDs which have an Intel label on them, because until they go end of life, you see no point of changing that, right? But the new products you will see being Solidigm. It's still the same legacy of engineering, a legacy of innovation, and a myopic focus on the quality of our products, right? So we offer products for data center clients. We service cloud customers, and we have client products as well. And we have relationship with major OEMs, major CSPs, and it's not only America, it's global. It's Asia and China and EMEA. And we really foster relationship with storage innovators. Many of you may have heard about VAST, and they disruptive storage appliances. VAST using our technology, our QLC drives in their solutions largely, right? So the headquarters of Solidigm is based in California, in Sacramento, right? And with the backing of SK Hynix, we're getting their manufacturing scale. We have about 4 fabs in total for NAND, and SK Hynix also have a DRAM business, which we figuring out how can we bring to the market together and scale together. So I think we have this scalability engine, access to manufacturing. We understand the market from the Intel days, how to scale, how to work with the partners locally, right? And we have an aspiration to become a #1 storage supplier by the end of this decade, hopefully. So that's who we are, essentially.
Well, thank you very much. That's very, very a good introduction to Solidigm. So the headquarters is still in the USA. You mentioned currently yes. 4 fabs. Where would the fabs be located?
If I remember correctly, we do have 3 fabs in Korea, right? And we have 1 fab in China, right? That's for the NAND, right? The memory, I don't have exactly on top of my head, but I think they also spread across Korea and China.
Okay. And the makeup of your colleagues at Solidigm, these are mainly people who were with you at Intel?
Yeah, so my team and the people who work in my team, I have employees in 4 different countries, from Israel all the way to UK, right? They are all ex-Intel people, right, with the decades of experience on the local market and working with local partners, and people know them really well. And that relationship really helps, because I think one of the cornerstone of how we see ourselves as a supplier, we work through partners, right? We don't see ourselves delivering everything. I think this is actually the Intel legacy in a way. I remember back in 2013, when one of the Intel CEO, Paolo Tellini, was leaving the company, we had a sales conference, and he did this nice reflection kind of speech about like his time at Intel and conclusions and learnings. And I think he said, we win when our partners win, right? That was true for Intel, and that's true for us, right? And I think this is one of the cornerstone of what we're doing, is to making sure we are supplier of choice for our partners, because we believe without partners we will not be successful. Right? That's a big thing.
Yeah, and I guess for Sims, we think about our business and being partner of choice, and therefore I can see how that's aligned to how you think about it, wanting to be supplier of choice. So perhaps that is a good way to look at why our partnership is as it is today.
And look, we know each other since what, 2017, maybe 16 even, right?
Yeah.
And it's not the transactional relationships, right? We're just making sure we help each other along the way. It's a long-term partnership. It's not just, we sell and we just, come to the next order. This is not how we work.
Okay. And clearly your role heading sales in Europe, could you just give a bit more detail about the target markets that very much for your EMEA business, what that looks like?
I think there is no secret that if you look at the semiconductors overall, right, the biggest growing segment in semiconductor is data center storage, right? This is where the demand for storage keeps going. And I think part of the mission of our company is to help to unlock potential of the data, and the data needs to be stored somewhere, right? And okay, you have a client computer, you need maybe one SSD, and the capacity is, I don't know, I have 256 gigabyte on my laptop, and it's good enough for most of the tasks I do day to day, right, in the business world. If you have a server, you can have 4, 8, 12, 24 drives per server, right? You have capacity. I think we'll talk more about this when we talk about sustainability and the footprint and things like that, right? But the data is exploding. There is huge amount of data, and we understand that the compound average growth rates, despite all the market situations we see in swings and it's kind of volatile environment, the demand for the data storage is only going up, right? And we think that in the semiconductor industry, data center storage is the biggest one. So this is where we're focusing primarily, and a lot of offering is geared toward that segment. We do also have client products, right? That's another segment. We mostly were focusing on the B2B in a client. And we look at the cloud storage solution specifically, not to be as a component, but we also look how does it fit into cloud workloads. I think one thing we try to deliver a value for our customers, we don't focus on just the pure synthetics numbers to bamboozle people saying, hey, this is like sequential, read sequential, right? It's like comparing the car's performance on a straight line, right? Nobody drives the car on the racetrack. People drive the car day to day. So what our engineers do is to make sure that the workloads major cloud partners are using, right? Or major OEM partners are using, we really make a difference in those real world scenarios, in the databases and virtualization environments and multi-tenant environments, noisy neighbor, et cetera, et cetera. So we try to design for the real world as opposed to just for the specs and for just biggest numbers.
Okay, and sort of continue on that, on the sort of your technology, the using the USP, how and what is the benefits that your partners would see from that?
We feel if you say data center storage, right? We feel there is definitely a drive to make storage cheaper, make storage faster, and make it bigger, right? And this is where we're focusing a lot of our efforts, right? And at the same time, we cannot compromise on quality. Quality was always paramount and almost like paranoid drive from our engineering team. Not cut the corner, make sure we hit the specs, make sure we have consistent product. If you provide a warranty for 5 years, and provide the specs for 5 years. We want to make sure it's all lasts over that period, right? So we see a big inflection point on the market. Is more than 60% of the data in data centers today stored on the hard drives, right? And it makes it super difficult to analyze this data and make any useful insight of this data, right? It's great for archiving and other things, and I'm not saying hard drive is going to go away. I'm saying with the rise of AI and analytics and smart decision and insights, you need data to be in a warmer storage, closer to your compute. To fill all these cores, all these GPUs with the data, you need it to be stored on a faster media. And we lead at the QLC technology. It's a 4 bits per cell. We already showed, I think, last year on the Flash Memory Summit, prototypes of the drives with the 5 bits per cell. That's one angle when we see we can put more data in the same volume. At the same time, many of you may have heard about 3D NAND, when we keep stacking the layers of the memory together on top of each other, more like skyscrapers. So we feel there is a good path to keep making storage cheaper and higher density, which really fits this data center usage. You want less drives per server. You want faster ones. You want to start moving from the hard drives, because the TCO crossover is already happening. Running the hard drives, you have performance implication, reliability implication, you have power efficiency implication, sustainability, right? We feel many customers already switching more and more of their data to storage. We're making the storage, QLC storage, more affordable and making the switch happen. And I think this is a great opportunity for all of us. And today we offer drives up to 30 terabytes capacity at a very competitive price point. At the same time, we're not compromising on the drive quality, because price points enabled by technology, not by just cutting the corners. And we see the path to later this year to introduce 60 terabytes SSD, right? You cannot have it today with the hard drives, right? And that's opened up a lot of opportunities, especially with interfaces like PCI Express 4, PCI Express 5, and you have this new server platforms from Ampere to AMD to Intel who offer huge amount of cores, huge amount of PCI Express lanes. We think this is the big opportunity for the market, for the partners to capture.
Okay. So clearly a really forward-thinking roadmap. We know, and I sense from what you're saying, quality is really key. What about on the people side, as you head up your European business, do you want to just explain a bit about the support that partners can expect to receive from Solidigm here with the local presence that you have, both UK, clearly we're a UK company, but in EMEA?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we come from Intel channel experience. I spent most of my time at Intel working in the channel, working in distribution, working with local partners. They are very different to the big OEMs and big hyperscalers, right? And we do understand the difference, and we do understand what matters for them. So we really work through our resale distribution partners. One of them is Sims in UK, right? We want to make sure our products is readily available because we do understand that many local partners, they don't do planning for 2-3 quarters ahead on their purchases. They need to have stock, they need to have products available here. We do invest a lot in a post-sale support. We do like separating from Intel, we understand that this is important. So we do have a call centers around the world. You can go on the phone line, you can raise a web ticket, you can do email. If you have any issues, there is a team trained to go and troubleshoot the issues. And we do also have a team of field application engineers to go deeper and help partners with their solutions, architecting solutions and helping them if they hit some bottlenecks or what have you. That's another thing. And we also pride ourselves on the warranty. So with Intel, we used to have advanced warranty replacement when we replace product, not the money. And for many people, it's important if you have a stack of similar SSDs running in the RAID configuration or JBOF, right? You really wanted the same one. We're still establishing that infrastructure, but we really want to make it work later this year, right? So making sure we not only sell the product, but we have this support infrastructure, right, available for that peace of mind. We deem it very, very important. In UK, yeah, absolutely, but also across other 40 plus countries, we sell our products in EMEA through our 10 plus distribution and resale partners.
Okay, so I mean, clearly a great product with great technology has support both from design or architecture through the transaction of the product getting to market, and then importantly post-sales, which clearly for a partner like Sims, that's really important, but clearly you as an organization have invested in that area.
Absolutely.
Okay, so changing the subject slightly, I'm sitting here in Kent, in Lenham, and I guess that in fact I know because I've looked at the meter, the energy or the power needed to do this podcast is actually coming from the sun. So above my head is solar panels, and this is very much part of Sims's investment in sustainability environment. So from Solidym's point of view, let's say from a corporate level, could you just explain the importance you as a company seen around environmental issues and sustainability? Lots been written about semiconductors and what they're looking to do. It'd be good just to get an insight to Solidym's view on all of this.
It is a massive topic, and it has many, many angles, right? And I hope we'll touch a few of them because it's a very big story. The one thing is running the factory and amount of water factory consume and things like using solar power. There is a lot of going on that. There is a lot of stuff going on the product side as well. If you have heard about EDSFF, Enterprise Data Center Form Factor, which Intel and now Solidym are part of founding members, this form factor for the future enterprise storage is actually focuses not only on performance, but optimizing the cooling, up to 40% efficient to do the cooling. If you deploy your solution on a scale, it's very important to do that, right? The things we do when we source ingredients when we make an SSD and components, we look at responsible sourcing, right? When we design our logistics, right? And obviously when we separated from Intel, we have very different logistics needs now, different products, subset, right? We look at that, how do we reduce the footprint? Can we deliver straight, say, to the country as opposed to going through some hubs? But it makes sense. Can we consolidate? Can we put product in the forward stage warehouse in Europe so our partners can pull as they need to, so we reduce overall amount of shipments? That's also the thing. I think even more important is how do we help our customers create solutions with our components, which would reduce footprint even further, right? Because I think that could be even a bigger impact overall. And I think we can talk about this if you're interested. I can elaborate a bit on that story.
Yeah, no, I think it's, as you say, it's a really, really important subject, and I think, please explain in more detail.
Sure. So it's always about how we can accomplish certain workloads, certain tasks, or solve certain problems, right? If you're running the AI models, or if you're storing the data, or if you're doing the virtualization, or what have you, if you're a cloud provider, or if you're an OEM and you sell to the partners, they think about it. And what we believe in, by making storage bigger and more affordable, right, and faster, we think that it all results in having less servers needed to do the same job, right? If you use hard drives to achieve the performance, you might need more hard drives in parallel to RAID them to get the speed, right? And then it might still not be enough, so you need more servers to do the same thing. We think with the bigger capacity drives and more cores and more compute, more GPUs in the same server, you can actually reduce number of servers. You reduce number of servers, obviously you reduce the manufacturing cost of that, manufacturing footprint, and you essentially need less electricity, less nodes, less maintenance. That's important, right? But the other angle, which is very important as well here, is that what we make possible with that, when the data available and a more faster media for the compute to analyze, the companies who are using this data, right, they can make better business decisions. They can optimize the logistics chain. They can make decisions better on manufacturing and predicting the demand. And that reduces a lot of waste. It's great for their bottom line, Yeah, absolutely, but it's also great for the environment because they're better geared for what actually, like having more impactful decision, which really matters to the business, really matters to environment, and not overproducing, not running in a situation when they need to rush things. So there is a lot of that. And the last one is replacing hard drives. We know obviously they older technology, they have the use, but the hard drives require as well. And if you have many of them, you need to have extra infrastructure for that. You need to have some special gimbals to reduce vibration. You might need some extra cooling for that, right? You might need some extra space as well. So that is another angle, right? So there is a lot of that. And we have a team of field application engineers who works with the customers, and we're trying to go a bit further than most of the vendors go. We try to help them design the solution in mind is what they're trying to do. And maybe I'll give an example. We have an automotive customers who were coming to us and saying, we use data logging and we need big capacity drives and very fast drives, right? And I think they were talking about the drives which are 3 writes per day or something, right? Our field application engineers were able to tell, to explain and do the proof of concept that they can actually have less drives with a much lower endurance. We're talking about the QLC, which will do exactly the job. It will save them an amount of drives they need to drive in every car, right? And it will save them the cost of the solution, and they're perfectly adequate for their needs, right? It's doing the job what they need. So it's way more than just here is a component and do whatever you want. We're trying to help them all along the way.
And are your field engineers, when they're visiting clients, users, let's say, of your products, are they being asked about environmental sustainability? How important is that becoming in the choice of which brand you're going to support?
Absolutely. We see it's more coming from the cloud customers because naturally they have bigger deployments, but we do see the OEM customers doing that as well. We have examples in Germany quite recently. We have a customer who's specializing on HPC, and they develop water-cooled HPC clusters. And one of the unique value proposition which we're helping them to unlock is to use that water, which cooling the compute and these clusters to heat the building. Okay. So if they deploy it in the university, right, they use excessive heat just for the heating of the building, right? And that's becoming a thing because you know the prices for the gas and electricity, and it's very tangible. There is a big focus on TCO and a big focus on being greener. Yeah, so that is happening. But we also see the just even small business customers, right? Thinking about the headroom in the solutions they do, right? Because, okay, small businesses tend to grow if they're successful. But the other thing is they also feel that more and more customers who purchase products from them want to hear about what they're doing for the environment. And one of the things they can do is to optimize the compute infrastructure.
Okay. And I assume for Solidigm partners that you work with, those that are demonstrating, looking at their own footprints, that's something that clearly is something you'd be interested in and embrace, and it's all part of the whole supply chain of just trying to make it as sustainable as possible.
Absolutely. We do have partners exploring angles of, okay, here is a footprint of running certain solutions and data center. Some partners go further and they're inquiring about what is the footprint of producing the SSD in the first place, and then recycling it. So they're taking it all together as a big picture. We still in a lot of exploration and a lot of learning in this stage with our partners, but we definitely committed to help them to do whatever we can as a supplier to help to reduce the footprint and give them as much data as they need so they can make conscious decisions.
Okay. And just going back to one of the aspirations of the business, you were saying that by the end of the decade, your goal is to try and be the number one supplier in the global supplier
of storage. Yes,
of storage. So do you just want to outline how the environmental sustainability you think might play a part of achieving that sort of, which would be an amazing status for Solidigm?
I think it goes to the points we discussed previously, right? We definitely see this big inflection point in the industry when data is exploding, and we're trying to be part of it to help people unlock the potential of the data. Bringing the new, more cost-effective, more greener technologies by optimizing the solutions which work with this data. That's the one thing. Second is making sure our manufacturing, our processes, our logistics, taking environmental angle into account all the way, and then working with our partners to make sure that what they need and what they do is hitting the mark on sustainability and environment as well, and helping them to design the solutions which are better suited to reduce the footprint. And as I said before, not only on this level of just pure hardware, but on what they do and what decisions they're able to make, or their customer able to make, to proliferate this change down the chain. As I said before, if you have more insight, you can make decisions which help you to reduce waste and optimize things down the line.
Okay. Well, Alex, I've certainly learned a lot about Solidigm, both from the setup, the products, the technology, and as we've just on the second part of the podcast, all things environmental sustainability. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure I hope our listeners have also got a really good insight into this fantastic company, Solidigm. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here.